Time can move very slowly when you're in a bear market. Watching your crypto and NFT value drop can be a depressing experience. Well, we've survived one bear market and appears that we're going to make it through another. Today, your favorite crypto clowns take a look at where we've been, what we've learned along the way, and discuss where we think this all might be going. So be of good cheer. We believe the bull is almost here. Let's talk financial mammals and have some fun as we give you our thoughts from inside the bear market on episode number, get this, 700 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad? Okay, the Bad Crypto Podcast. Woo, yeah, we get it hype. Talking Bitcoin with Joel Comm and Travis Wright. Yeah, digital money and blockchain. Keep you informed and entertained. Make you think, make you laugh. But remember, stay bad. The Bad Crypto Podcast. Let's go.
This is the big 700 live from the Republic of Bad Cryptopia. Well, recorded, but we're live as we're doing it. Wait, let me check my pulse. Yeah, I'm live. Trav, you live?
I'm still alive. Yeah.
We're like the two live crew.
Yeah,
I'm one live Jew.
You know, I want to say this episode number 700. Thanks to everyone who has tuned in and heard some of those along the way. And just as a quick recap, Joel, when we started the show, right? We started the show in July. Let's say the closest time frame that we have is like, it looks like July 16th is when we started the show. And the total crypto market cap at that time was $80 billion. That was the total volume right there. So that's a historic time. And now here we are now with it like almost 1.1 trillion. So we've gone up over about almost 15x since, here we are since starting the show.
Did we do that
years ago? It was all on us. Yeah. Us and Ben Armstrong. We did it all.
Cool.
And a little bit of Michael Saylor, not much, but some. And, we've seen this thing is almost, didn't we see it over 2 trillion? Wasn't it like 2 point something?
We saw
trillion?
It over 3
trillion. My God. So
yeah, I'm going to pull up CoinGecko in a minute. We'll take a look.
Looks like we're in for about another run here. It should be interesting to see. Over 10,000 coins now, Joel.
That's crazy. And those are just the ones that are being tracked by CoinGecko. Right. I guarantee there's at least that many more that aren't being tracked. And who knows?
And deservedly so.
We're just going to have a little conversation today, talk about some of the things that we've learned, but let's go ahead and historically take a look at the crypto market. Those of you that are listening, that's fine. If you want to see what we're talking about here, we've got some visuals you could check out either YouTube, Rumble, or on Odyssey. This is the total crypto market cap that you were talking about right here, Trav. And in 2018, at the top of the market, the crypto market cap got to 812 billion, right? Up from, it's 2017, about 80 billion. And then
I thought Joel, my thought was we're going to hit 1 trillion. And that was probably going to be the top of that first one. That's why. But then what was so crazy about that one to me, Joel, if you actually even zoom in on that one, is that that bear market was so harsh, because what ended up happening was it hit the high and then boom, that it tanked right after that. Like if you go in and look at that thing, let's just even scroll it over a little bit. January of 2020 of 2018, it just went, it was down 40% before you know it. And then I know that I got invited to speak at this Coins Bank cruise that went from Singapore to Malaysia to Thailand, then back to Singapore. Then it was so crazy. When we initially started this thing, it was just so nuts because there weren't a lot of other podcasts. And so people were inviting us all over the place. We even got to go to Switzerland. So I literally was on the beach one day in Switzerland, the next day flying to or on the beach in Thailand, went to Singapore, flew to Switzerland. Next day, 6 feet of snow.
Yeah.
Like it was insane. And then the market, it just tanked, dude. It went up and then boom, it was down 40% before I could get back home to sell any cryptos.
Right. It was rough, which is, and now if we forward to 2021, this space right here, we'll just pick a 90-day, or we'll go to the max, but I'll pick from 2020 through, we'll say, that's fine. We'll go with 2021, and CoinGecko's not being supportive of me right now. I'm just going to do that. Shouldn't it be like when you click on these things, it should like tell you exactly where you want it?
Yeah,
there you go. Okay,
that's kind of what you do.
So there you go. There's 2020. We got up to 3 trillion and 50.
Even scroll back, take that left one down there on the volume, move it over to the beginning of 2020, because you can see how Bitcoin tanked out in like March, like $3,800 or something. Bitcoin did. You can't really see that coin on this particular chart, but look at that run. It went. What was the market cap in say April of 20?
A market cap was 190 billion, and then it went up to 3 trillion.
Oh my God.
And then it fell. So, here's what I learned through 2 bull markets is if you want to take profits, you want to do it before the market crashes. And so it's easy to get caught up in the hype and the FOMO, and it's going higher. You don't want to miss out on those profits as it's going up. But I try to peel off a little bit, just a little bit here, put some profit, put it in the bank, because as I like to say, it never hurts to take profits. And I did that in a small way. 2017, 2018, really small, because when it crashed, I really felt it. In 2021, 20 to 2021, I did a little better than I did the first time, but still not enough to make me say I learned my lesson the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even worse for NFTs, right? Because there was NFTs that I could have sold for 10, 20 ETH, back at the boom, that are now worth 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch.
Yeah, and then the fact is that at that time, ETH was worth so much more, right? You're talking about $3,000 to $5,000 ETH at 10 of those versus 1,600 ETH and worth than 2 or 3. So, I do think that is going forward is make sure to peel profits off. The problem is that when you get caught up in this game, it becomes a little bit like gambling, because you're like, oh man, like look at this coin right here. It's like, and then I remember I heard news that Snoop Dogg was launching some stuff on Gala Music, and the token price was like, 30 cents or something. I was like, oh dude, like this with Snoop Dogg coming over and releasing, the Return on Death Row, like that, this price is going to go. And then so I bought it. I sold a bunch of other tokens and went into that, and that thing just tanked, dude. And I was like, oh man. So it's almost like, I think I did pretty good along the way, but then there was a couple of times where I just aped in on stuff that I shouldn't have aped in at a time that I shouldn't have aped in on it. And so it's like, that's what it is put that over here. It's like if when some of these coins were going whoosh, if I just take those out, put them into Bitcoin, take those out, put them into Bitcoin. That's what the maximalist would say to do. Put everything you can in Bitcoin. Even if Bitcoin goes to 70,000, goes down to 15,000, you still have that Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's a Bitcoin. And so I think that this time around is going to be interesting. I think every time seems like it's a little more unique, because the 2017 one was struck with all those ICOs. And so one of the only things you could really do with your ETH at that time was buy into ICOs, right? So it was like forced investments. Most of those tanked. 99+% of those are not around anymore. Just like James Altucher said back in the day, these are all going to be scams. Don't buy into those. I mean, we interviewed him really early on, and he said that. And
well,
like, whatever.
Do you think most of them were scams, though? I don't
think they're scams. I just think that 9 out of 10 startups fail.
Yeah, that's different than a scam, though. Like, I want to be real careful as we frame that. They're scams where people are there to raise money to take your money and run off with it.
I don't think that was their intention. Most of their intention was not to do that, but startups fail. But that's how the government and Congress is kind of framing it as like, oh, they're a scam. We got to protect you from your money. It's almost like, no, they're startups. and most of them fail because startups mostly fail, right? And that's just the nature of the game. But it's been wild. And then 2020 NFTs took off, metaverse things were so hot, and now here we are again. AI is pretty hot, but we didn't see any tokens really blow up right now yet based
Meme
on that.
coins.
And now AI is kind
You
of
could tell people
meme
are
coins.
bored because meme coins have been, the soup du jour, and I just don't want to play in that because I don't want to gamble.
Right.
Personally, I want to invest. I want to buy crypto and tokens that I believe are going to have real world application. I want to buy NFTs where I think that there is utility to them. But boy, that hype cycle was crazy. And, we only ever created collectibles. That was the whole MO for Blockchain Heroes is, we never said there was going to be any utility. We never made any promises of any value. We just said, hey, here are these cool digital collectibles. We like to
They're going to be fun.
Yeah, they're going to be fun.
We're going to deliver delight along the way, which we did. We added all kinds of utility with forging events, and then uploading these and transforming X amount of cards into a new card. So it's like we've done a lot of stuff to make it fun along the way. And now there's a game.
Now
So
there's
it's
a game.
yeah.
In fact, this was not something that was ever promised, ever offered, and we've been working behind the scenes to create Blockchain Heroes Blitz. If you are holding Blockchain Heroes cards from the Retro Rebellion series, the latest series, you can log in with your Wax Cloud wallet. And by the time this show comes out, the tournament will be happening. There's actually a tournament where you can win FGL tokens playing this game. I don't know of anybody who has out of the blue surprised an audience after not saying there's going to be any utility, and then said, hey, guess what? We made you something.
Right.
And we did. And here it is. And you can pick from your heroes and villains, and they can fight against one another, and it's a fun game. There's some.
We need to play one of these games, Joel. That could be kind of fun. You and I, we could play one of these. I've not played this yet.
You play it yourself. It's a solo game. You pick, and then it's like you play against the computer, so that way people can join anytime. You don't have to wait for other people to come on. We did it in partnership with FGL, who now has, I believe, 5 games, and you can earn FGL token. Anyway, go.
Those cards are. I mean, I'll tell you this, dude. These cards are still so beautiful. I think that those Retro Rebellion cards are potentially some of the most beautiful NFTs that have been created, and they were on Wax, and so I don't think they got the popularity or the buzz that they should have, because there's some freaking beautiful ones, dude. They're so animated. They got their own soundtrack and stuff, and it's just nicely done to Zach to ideate those, and then the developers and the coders and the animators we had to help create those things. Beautiful.
You guys can go to heroesblitz.com and go check that out. So I've got the Bitcoin price and chart up here, just a timestamp. We're recording this early because I'm going to be out of town, and Travis is going to be moving soon. So just a timestamp, so you have a frame of reference, even though the show won't launch until mid-October. It is the 4th of October. And at this moment, Bitcoin is $27,584. And if we go ahead and look at the chart here, I mean, this is where we were at our peak, about 60. I can't quite get it. Let me see if I can zoom in so we can get there. Looks like 60. Oh, this says 67, 617.
I got up to 69.
69, yeah.
69, 420. Probably.
There you go.
But actually, Joel, if you scroll back out and you hit back out just a little bit, the whole thing, go back out so you can see the 2021 version. See, look at that right there. You see that? So you had the little pop right there, and then you see this little bop right over here in, like, say, July, August of 2019. So we're maybe in that right now, where it's going to go up, and then we can see if it's going to follow that trend. Then it went down, but that was because COVID hit and everything went a little weird. So that could be a little different than that. It could just take off on its own and have its own path. I personally would love to see it go down to about 20 grand before it makes its big pop, because then I could snag more once my home is sold.
Well,
that's just my own personal greed. I would like to see Bitcoin go down to about 15,000 before. Yeah.
So
personally, I'm saying
the halving is coming in May of 2024, And typically that is, the primary driving factor of the value of Bitcoin, is that as Bitcoin gets more difficult to mine and there's fewer Bitcoin that are being mined, it becomes more scarce. Because remember, there's only 21 million of them ever. And, to review, if there's 21 million Bitcoin ever, we've not yet mined 20 million. A million of them are in Satoshi's wallet or wallets, which brings us to 19. 4 million or more, will be conservative, are allegedly lost in wallets that will never be found in a dump in Kansas City. And so that brings us down to 15 million. You got to figure at least 4 million are in strong hands that ain't never selling, right? They're locked down. That takes us down to 11 million. That, we got 8 billion people in the world. So, do the math on that. That's a lot of people that are going to be competing for a very scarce currency. Maybe.
So just so you know, so the timestamp on this episode is going to be coming out the week of October 20th, right? So based on that, we are right about 6 months away from the Bitcoin halving. 180 days. If you go look at buy Bitcoin worldwide and take a look at the halving, we are about 180 days away from the halving date. They're saying the halving date is going to be April 17th, 2024, based on right now. That's going to change a little bit. It's going to move a few days either way, depending on how long sometimes some blocks are having. But it looks like it's going to be about, 29,000 blocks or 27, something like that, until the halving. Now, remember, whenever the 2012 halving happened, Bitcoin dropped every 10 minutes. New Bitcoins were dropped from 50 new Bitcoins to 25 Bitcoin. 2016, it dropped again from 25 to 12.5. And then in May of 2020, it dropped from 12.5 to 6.25. Now, this one in 2024 on April 17th, and typically right about 6 months up until that new halving, we start seeing life. So we are seeing the beginnings, most likely, of Bitcoin doing its thing. Now, it might drop a little bit before it takes off a little bit. We're going to see. But this is going to take the reward from 6.25 Bitcoin per block to 3.125 Bitcoin every block, which means, Joel, right, that the cost of mining these Bitcoins should increase, and the cost and the value of Bitcoin should increase because these are deflationary in nature. The cost of doing business should be much higher. So if it's going to have, then maybe we see, if the top was nearly 70,000, maybe we see 130, 140,000 as the high of this next cycle, potentially. Maybe that's a good gauge. I don't know.
Well, the years where the halving happens is traditionally, at least what we've seen, is something to be watched. And the years where it doesn't happen, that's a have-nots. You have the haves and the have-nots.
The happenings and the happening nots.
So in 2020, you're right. COVID set off a global financial crisis, right? There was a lot of panic. And so it certainly did not help crypto. Well, we have some things that are happening now, which could also impact the value of Bitcoin. For one, we've got more adoption happening by World Financial Services, and we have the SEC saying that Bitcoin is not a security, and we have BlackRock and the other, evil overlords that run the world that are looking, Grayscale is another one that they're applying for their ETFs. And when that happens, that's going to give legitimacy to Bitcoin to a lot of investors with a lot of money that will go, okay, now this is being treated as an asset class that I can have confidence in investing in. And so, what happens there when these ETFs finally get approved?
That's going to remain to be seen, because, how are they going to actually have it set up? Are they going to be people going to be able to go in and buy a bunch of Bitcoin, paper Bitcoin that's not even actually Bitcoin? Because if that's the case, that could suppress the price of the overall Bitcoin, because people are buying into Bitcoin that doesn't technically exist. I think that's their goal. But if you look at this, if you're BlackRock and you hold $10 trillion worth of assets, bro. All of crypto's 1.1 trillion right now. BlackRock could come in and buy up all of it. Everything that's available, they could come in and buy, and sort of shut down some of these things over as they become available to buy. Boom, they buy them. They could shut it down. That's weird to me, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that this bull run will probably take us up over $5 trillion total in the market cap, hopefully, and then maybe even closer to 10 trillion, because we can't have one entity being able to come in and move markets so efficiently like that. The ETF is going to be a little different on how they're doing that exchange traded fund and how they're going to build that out. I know that paper silver is no good. There's like 500 ounces of silver for every 1 ounce of silver, or it's 500 ounces of gold. One of the two. I don't remember which one is which, but there's 250 times as much fake paper gold or silver, and then the other one is 500 times fake gold, or whichever one it is. I don't remember. So if they start saying, hey, there's 500 times fake Bitcoin, and then now all of a sudden we have, a billion Bitcoin that people are able to buy, even though it doesn't exist, that's going to be weird. So you don't want to make sure that you have your real Bitcoin in your own real wallet, that you have your own real keys to, because if you're relying on, Fidelity or BlackRock or anybody else holding your Bitcoin for you in your retirement fund because you don't understand it, you're probably dealing with phantom Bitcoin.
Well, and that seems like the remedy to having this scenario happen, is that when you go and you buy your Bitcoin through one of these brokerage houses, that you withdraw it and put it on, your own ledger or, Trezor or paper wallet or wherever, that you are holding the keys and that you are the custodian of it. And not only is it dangerous to have them hold it because, they can print fake Bitcoin that's not there to sell and they just profit on. But also, let's say this social credit score system comes to US, as it is, they can freeze your bank accounts now. Well, why couldn't they freeze your crypto account through a major brokerage house? They could. And so this is why self-custody and the spirit of Bitcoin, the intent of it, for you to be your own bank, bitches.
Yeah. You don't own your own crypto keys. You don't own your crypto. We've been talking about that for the longest time, and I think it's more relevant than now. Now, investment strategies moving forward, I would say, again, we're not financial advisors, but I would say that what we've learned from the previous two bull runs is that, peel off some profits, put some into Bitcoin, most likely a pretty good idea. If you want to gamble on some of these coins that are ERCs and some of these other, different cryptos, feel free, whichever ones you think are maybe the best ones. We've interviewed a lot of them on the show, right? Go ahead. But always think about building up your Satoshis, because long-term, it's beginning to look a lot like, not Christmas. It's not. It's beginning to look a lot like potentially Halloween. Bitcoin could become the world reserve currency down the road, right?
It's
More
possible.
countries are utilizing it. Countries are saying, hey, this is an official non-fakeable currency, right? Or whatever the term that China said, we mentioned a couple weeks ago, was a non-replicable token or something, right? Not non-fungible, non-replicable. Like you can't create it out of thin air. And so this is a real thing. And so as more countries around the world start adding validity to Bitcoin's the clear winner on this thing for now, right? And there's other companies and projects that are building stuff. But if you have a headquarters and you have a CEO and you have an effervescent founder that's out there talking about it, it's not as decentralized as you would like it to be. Whereas Bitcoin has none of those, right?
Effervescent founders. I like that. It reminds me of like Alka-Seltzer or something.
Well, it's kind of what it is. They're out there chatting, rah, buy my shitcoin.
Here's my strategy. And of course, y'all are smart enough to go do your own due diligence and figure this stuff out. Don't do anything just because we're doing it or because you heard it on the show. Figure it out. So my strategy has been during this down market, I've been selling some of my NFTs for cryptos that I think are at a low. For example, Wax is like 4 cents right now.
Right.
Wax is lower now than when we sold the first Blockchain Hero series in 2020. It was at
when they were
5
5.
cents. It was 5.
Wow.
So right now I'm selling some NFTs on Wax for less than I bought them for, but more wax than I bought them for. Because I might have bought them, for 100 wax when wax was, 50 cents. But now I can sell it for 500 wax. And my wager, my calculated risk is that wax, if wax does indeed go up again, and I'm hoping that blockchain does succeed, then the value of that wax will be more than the value of the NFT. In other words, I don't think the NFT is going to increase in the same value as the value of the token.
Right. Better a good idea to stack some of that wax, baby, if you can.
If wax can pull it off. They're making a lot of moves. There's some really interesting things happening. If you're not paying attention to the partnerships they're forming, there's alliances happening between blockchains, and I don't know what's been publicly announced yet, so I'm not going to say anything here in this recording that would violate any trust that's been put on me, because as you know, Travis and I have been on the Wax Advisory Council, and we get to hear some things, and we don't want to do
that, and a bag of chips gets you a bag of chips.
Yeah, pretty much. But they're great people, and we think that there's opportunity there. And then my strategy for Bitcoin is in crypto is I'm looking at the market now after 6 years of being involved in this, 6.5, and going, look, if token X fails, it has no bearing on whether or not Bitcoin fails. But if Bitcoin fails, all the other tokens are likely to fail as well. So what is the most reliable investment that you can make? So I think maybe I'm maturing and growing in my investment strategy and starting to listen more to those who have been purists on the show saying,
right,
buy Bitcoin.
Buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But the thing is like Bitcoin's not going to, you're not going to have Bitcoin going 100x, right? Those days are done. Bitcoin has gone up. I don't even know it's like 1,000,000x or something stupid since the early days. So if you got in Bitcoin early, you do not ever have to worry about dinero again, because if you got in that shit under $100 or under $500, and here we are at 20, 30,000 bucks, and maybe going to hit 100,000 bucks, you're doing good. But that's why I do think that it makes sense to peel off some, to put it into Bitcoin, maybe have a percentage of that you're gambling on some of these cryptos that you think might be good technologies down the road. So you got good leadership, you got people that you like behind it, checking out the market sentiment about those. Because as Bitcoin goes, historically, Ethereum goes, the rest of them go. Bitcoin doesn't normally have more than 50% of the overall value of the crypto market. I think it's sitting at like 45, 46%, something like that right now. And so typically it'll get a little bit lower as some of the markets, as some of the other cryptos start taking off. And those in the top 50, there's going to be some really big ones in the top 50 that go 20, 50x. There's no doubt about it. But picking the right ones can be hard. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I've done that before. That tanks your stuff, that tanks your basket. But I do think that, selling my home right now is a good time, because I can take that and get into some cryptos and have that I do tend to enjoy, and also taking some of that out and building a new startup that I'm working on. So this is fun. It's like I think that crypto has been a really wild ride. We've seen the ups, we've seen the downs, and I think we're about to see another big up. But then again, I also think that we're in such an interesting time now, Joel, with the economy kind of teetering and some of these world economies doing weird stuff right now. And just like, man, if that's the case, if some of those things tank, you want to actually be in some Bitcoin, because you can't carry over $10,000 or more worth of gold. That's only 5 gold coins at this point, right? If you go across state borders or country borders, the only thing you could really do is have crypto in an encrypted wallet, and you could go with a few $1 million if you're lucky. So, I think that having crypto at this point is a no-brainer. Picking the right ones can be a little difficult, but as always, probably a good idea to grab some Bitcoin. Not financial advice, but if you're tuning into this, you know how it is. You got to do your own research and figure out what makes the most sense to you, because there is no silver bullet. We're going to say, hey, do this, you're going to be a millionaire. We never tell you any of that. You're not going to make money listening to our show. You're going to just research it and find it on your own and be like, I should
silly rabbit.
do this.
Silver bullets are for killing vampires. That's what we do with those. So, the strategy for the coins that are in the tank is, well, I'm holding them. If the project is still alive and they're, they're plodding along, trying to survive the bear market, well, I'm going to hold some tokens and I'm going to wait until, because when Bitcoin goes up and the market's back, invariably many of those tokens will also rise along with them. And same thing with these NFTs. I bought a mutant ape, and it's probably survived the best out of all of them, but there's a lot of NFTs I have that have not kept value at all. And as long as the project is alive, why get out now? The market's going to come back. There is going to be another wave of excitement around NFTs as we move towards mainstream. And I remember building websites in the late 90s, and then the market collapsed in 2000, and people were writing articles that say, oh, the internet's over and e-commerce is over. And for 4 years, I hung in there and I kept building and I kept looking for ways to monetize as I'm growing my content. In 2004, 4 years later, it started coming back. And now look what happened. Bigger than ever. The internet is ubiquitous, and sticking with it was clearly the thing to do. And this is what's going to happen, I believe, with crypto and NFTs. Adoption moves on.
Web 1, right? It kind of crashed at the end of the year 2000, 1999, 2000, the big tech bubble. Web 1 was kind of done, and then the grumblings of Web 2 were beginning, right? And
those grumblings?
Yeah, grumblings and rumblings. And see which ones were gonna be the winners. I remember going to San Francisco in 2007 to the Web 2 Expo and just seeing Twitter was brand new, YouTube had just been acquired by Google, and oh man, for $1.6 billion, like how much is YouTube worth at this point? You knew YouTube was going to be worth so much. Now they even got YouTube TV. You can watch, and I can see my Kansas City stuff, my news stuff, and they're showing me Kansas City ads. It's like, you knew they were going to do that. You knew that stuff was coming. And Web 2, and here we are at the beginnings, and we got some grumblings of Web 3. People are starting to build stuff, and I think that as this thing moves forward, I really think we're going to see a big shift with AR stuff, Joel. I think moving forward, AR is going to be way bigger than VR. And I think when Apple drops their Vision Pro, and because they have it so you can actually see through, so they have cameras on the outside that's video and what you're seeing out there. So you're seeing it in here, and then you can see stuff on top of it. And now Quest has come out with they're coming out with their Quest 3 that's going to allow you to see through more. And that's going to be huge, because then you can start putting actions and animations on top of real world things. And that reminds me of the company Vatoms, VATONS, right? They were Block V originally back in the bull run of 2017. They're still building, right? And they're creating these little virtual, things that's popping up in the AR world. And so I think their time will come eventually as well. I'm kind of hoping that their time comes, or some technology like that, because the merger between the physical world and the digital world through your AR lenses is going to be another game changer. And I think that's going to be a fun thing to watch. And then being able to use AI to create new landscapes in AR and VR just by typing it or telling it what you want to create it. Like, we're really close to Star Trek shit, Joel.
Are we going to be Borg? You will be assimilated, be part of the collective.
You will be part of the authoritarian dystopia.
Hey, we started this show not being experts and wanting to learn from people smarter than us. Turns out we've learned a little bit along the way, but we're still learning. It's still a journey. We're glad that you guys are here with us on this journey. And for those of you who are not in the Bad Crypto Nifty Club, we mint NFTs and we airdrop them many times for free. And if you go to what was the uncut.network /
no, badcrypto.uncut.network.
FM. Yeah.
Or you can do .fm, either one. Both of them work. Uncut.fm or Bad Crypto there.
.network. We'll get you there and get the Bad Crypto Nifty Club NFT. It's like $3 and we're going to airdrop stuff to you. We've already done a bunch of them. And I think, Travis, you were mentioning
almost 50 or something. Haven't we done like 40 or 50 NFTs that we've dropped to people? Yeah.
This picture that you've created behind you, I think you're going to mess with it a little bit more.
I think I want to animate it. I and do something cool with it. So the Bitcoin's sort of exploding.
Move out of the way for a second. Let's see. Oh yeah, that looks badass.
How about I just move me? There we go.
Oh yeah, Travis is going to work on this, and this is going to be an NFT that we drop to everybody who's holding the Bad Crypto Nifty Club NFT. badcrypto.uncut.network. Look for the spinny red NFT. Like I say, it's about $3, and we're only selling it to keep bots from claiming them, because if they're free, we don't want to be airdropping to losers. Only
you know
winners.
what I say? I say kiss my bots.
Yeah,
That's what I say. I don't say that.
So here's my last prediction, kind of for the future, is that there will be an episode 701 coming soon to your ear holes.
Right on. We're going to keep trucking until we no longer are trucking.
Till there's no more trucks.
So we're done with that. But we appreciate you all for tuning in, man. You know, we've got so many great fans that have tuned in. I have, you know, I've encountered, and I know Joel has as well, when we go to conferences and stuff, people are like, oh my God, I used to listen to you guys all the time. And I'm like, why'd you stop? Well, because I became more smart.
Because the crypto market,
crypto market tanks. And then what happens is, I think that's like, we like to crack jokes and then talk about crypto. We don't go so deep into the nerps. And then, you know, sometimes after a while, you're like, I need to go hear some of these nerpity nerps. And then you go talk to them, listen to this shit.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Are we transitory? We don't want to be your transitory crypto podcast. We want to be
I don't care. Come, go, stay, but clean up after yourself and remember to
stay bad.
Stay bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.